Hey, here's what we are jumping into. And I would remind you, y'all are grown folks. I can't tell you what to do, but if I could, highly encourage you, silence some of the pings, rings, and dings. It's hard to be in two places at one time. It really just feels it just kind of pulls us apart. So there's going to be some value today. There's going to be always one thing that you can take away, write down, implement, and get better, right? We're going to get better collectively today together. So I'm excited to get rocking and rolling. Adam will be here shortly. His twin brother Ben is on the call. For those of y'all who don't know me or Business on Purpose, we exist for one reason. Some of y'all know this, some of y'all don't. We exist to liberate owners from chaos so they have time for what matters most. And sometimes that chaos is in the form of software. And there's chaos in that. There's chaos in our work. And so our mission is to liberate owners from chaos. I've already challenged you. I hope you've got some stuff to write with. We are going to ask you at the end of this call, hey, what is the one thing? What is the one thing that you took away from today? And what are you going to do with that? And when are you going to do that by? So the one thing we will ask you, because, hey, you may have a great idea from today, but if we don't implement it, we always say, hey, vision without implementation is what? Hallucination. So be ready to rock and roll and write that down. I want to introduce myself. Again, I'm Brent Whitaker. I'm one of the coaches here at Business on Purpose. And here is the profile, the glamour shots of our team. Those are the folks that live out the mission of liberating owners and key leaders from chaos. So there is time for what matters most. And who do we work with? Great question. If you don't know, we work with business owners from 3 all the way up to 100 employees. Okay. And we do that. What do we do? Well, we solve these pain points that we've seen in every business, and they're around our 4 Ps. We like alliterations. It is purpose, people, process, and profit. Those 4 Ps are foundational cornerstones to what we do and making sure that those are baked into the business. And we always start with people, process, and profit. We do that throughout. How do we do that? How do we liberate owners from chaos so they have time for what matters most? We use our proprietary BOP installation roadmap. And we also install the BOP operating system, which is super simple, super effective, less confusion, more clarity. We always say, Adam will hear that. Clarity is kindness. That could be one that you write down. That might be your one takeaway. Clarity is kindness. Clarity of where you're going, who you serve, your team, the culture, all of that. Clarity is kindness. So I want to introduce Adam. Have you joined us, brother?
I've joined us.
Yes, there's the man bringing the value. He's out delivering gifts, I think, today. Just a
That's
little
right,
Chris.
guys. And there's just a little bit of Charleston traffic, Charleston, South Carolina. John Xylem got caught up in it. So forgive me, but I knew I was going to come in hot. And I know the content that we're going to talk about today. So no problem for me. Just let me know if you've set me up in a wrong manner,
I have teed
Brent.
you up to bring extreme value, which I know you
Okay.
will. And so here's the brothers. Ben's on the call too, twin brothers out of Charleston, South Carolina. And tell us about your mission, Adam. Why do you get out of bed in the mornings? Why do you do what you do?
Put me on the spot.
Yeah, man.
So our team is focused on building with trust, leading with excellence, and focusing on a grand experience for our clients. That's truly why this team here gets out of bed each day. And I'm going to give a little bit of kudos and credit to Buildertrend because about 2 years ago, without that question, it had taken me, you could ask me 3 different times and I would have given you 5 different answers. Okay. But Brent actually gave one of my favorite quotes that he and I, or it's his, but I say he and I have together, which is clarity is kindness. I heard it when I jumped on. And getting clarity on business principles and why you do things and what the mission is so important. I saw a team photo there of us doing go-karting. There's a lot of mantras in our team, things that we like to do, things that motivate us. Certainly having fun is one of them. So when I stole the controls here, when I stole the steering wheel, when I do here in just a second from Brent, I'm probably going to lead off right off and say, all right, let's have some fun because that's what I want to do today. But certainly I want to bring and give my experience, which is also what I do pretty emphatically with our team first and also with our clients second. And so building processes that give predictable and repeatable results on a mission to expel chaos from this crazy industry that most of us have either chosen or have been driven into one way or another. So let's do it. That's our team. These are some different events. Our team is about 9 strong, from project managers to pre-construction managers to myself, my twin brother there on the left. And together we are CopeGrand here in Charleston. So this experience today, we're going to talk about pre-construction. You guys can at any time hit the unmute button and raise your hand, or just go, "Hey, Adam, could we stop right there?" Because trust me, I'll know where I want to go, but I don't want you to miss something. I just got knocked down for 4 days with a cold. You guys stay, keep your hands clean this week. So my voice is still recovering from that. If I enunciate something that's unclear, if I use a definition, a term, if I'm doing something that you think is wrong, I want you to call me out on it and say, "Hey, Adam, could you go back to that? Could you explain it? Could we dive into that in a little bit more detail?" I'd love to do it, because if you have that question, many others on this call do as well. And if I'm doing something wrong, I want you to call me out on it, right? Let's talk about it. So we're going to do pre-construction today. At first, most of us started out as home builders, contractors, bags on guys, maybe not the office guys, or what our team likes to call the seated ones to joke around. And so our opportunity to figure out construction was, there's a pile of 2x6s, there's a nail gun, where the hell are the plans at? Does somebody have the structural plans on site? And you went and did these things. You put them together, you built them, you reflected on it, you did better the next time, etc. Our team has figured out that that team in the field is, and has always been, the tip of the spear of every organization, but particularly ours at CopeGrand. Our project managers know this. The tip of the spear is right there. But that tip of the spear, no matter how elegant, no matter how well shaped, no matter how well forged, titanium or vibranium that it's made out of, it's kind of worthless without that shaft on that spear. Okay, that longer staff that is rigid, that has mass to it, and is built for pushing and driving that tip of the spear through whatever challenge you have. Okay, so what we're talking about today is not the spear in project management, but instead the pre-construction side, which is the shaft, which is the staff of the spear. So, and quite frankly, that analogy, it's a lot longer in some cases. There's a lot more information. It's a conduit, it's a process. Things need to be put together and discovered, put together, organized, managed, communicated, and delivered in order to make sure that when we deliver that momentum with our project management team, that we're actually executing and not creating more chaos. One of the ways that we do that is with predictable systems and processes to get repeatable results. This team chose to use Buildertrend to do that 10 plus or odd years ago. Y'all might be using something different. Might be Procure, might be CoConstruct, might be a spreadsheet. It might be, any of the ones. I'll just tell you that I'm going to open up my screen today. Open up my screen today. I'm going to show you the inside of our software. Hopefully that's another reason why you came, to see how we do it. Okay. Buildertrend actually prescribes a way for you to do it, which is pretty cool. I do think that software and most softwares are meant to build better builders. I'm just going to say that if you're using a software and you're using it in your own way, you shall take a step back, at least over the holidays, and do something a little bit more like I do, and stretch your arms out and say, "Man, am I doing this wrong? Am I doing it the way that my software was built for me to do it?" Because if I am going off track and I'm using the software over here and I'm using the software over there and things aren't connecting and talking to each other, I promise you got chaos. Some of you guys are shaking your heads on that right now. So step back and identify, maybe in 2026, definitely go back and say, how does our software want us to be organized in order to follow a process that gives predictable and repeatable results? And by the way, communicates extremely well with all the interconnected people with it. So today we're not relying on payphones and a pocket full of quarters anymore. Nextels, yellow pads, spreadsheets. I haven't touched a spreadsheet, guys. I actually despise spreadsheets. I got one the other day and I rejected it because we don't need them anymore, quite frankly. There's more reliable opportunities to store, utilize, and work with information. So any questions to start off? Go ahead and hit the unmute button. If you guys want me to focus on anything, I'm here for you. Brent emotionally headlocks me to do these things along with Scott. I also enjoy doing it, but let me not just ignore who this is actually for, which is you guys. Does anybody want me to cover anything in my presentation of pre-construction today with Buildertrend or within organization? Anything I can touch on off the start? All right, we'll give it like 4 more seconds to find that unmute button. All right, let's do it. Brent, you got me teed up to share?
Yes, sir. Multiple participants. You should
Okay.
be good, brother.
Here we go. Gosh, Brent, go ahead and just give me a survey. How many of the folks in the audience do you think are Buildertrend folks?
Ooh. If you're a Buildertrend client, throw a thumbs up in the chat.
Yeah. I don't want to just kind of talk about pre-construction today as it solely relates to Buildertrend. This can be applied. What I'm going to go over today can be applied to whatever software you're using, or if you're still on a tablet, a yellow pad, maybe not as easy without a photocopier. But what we're going to talk about today is templates and tasks, organization, right? Setting a system up that you can rely on to be true every time you pick it back up and need it. Not having to recreate the process, not having to miss something, get caught flat-footed, your team asking you, well, we didn't do it that way last time. Why are we going to do it that way this time? So I'm going to jump into this stuff. Can you see my screen, Brent?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm on the templates screen of Buildertrend. So most softwares have a template so that you can template information and you can put it into place where you can utilize it repeatedly. You don't have to recreate it. Particularly, I'm going to just kind of show, hey, we've got a lot of templates. One, because we redo our templates. We've got some older templates. There's people's names on these templates. BOP Masterclass template. Number two, I don't know which one that was. That was with Michael. There was another BOP Masterclass, but there's bid estimates. There's a Bauer template. There's Adam's schedule template. There's certain project templates. These are playgrounds for you to get your playbook in order and test things out. And then there's the ones that are always there and predictable and repeatable that are updated. I'm going to click into our phase one template right here. Okay. This is our pre-construction services agreement template. If I go into this one, into my templates, and I've got that, I'm going to build a job for you guys. I'm just going to behave. Hey, I've got a new client. We've got a new client. They're interested in us. We're interested in them. Things seem to be going well. I'm instantly going to take them from, and there is a CRM in Buildertrend. I'm going to skip that step because when I talk about Buildertrend, I want to make sure I maximize the value on pre-construction here. I'm going to go to jobs, and you guys are welcome to ask me to navigate anywhere else in here. I'm opening up the hood for you guys too. Here's all of our jobs on the left-hand side. Okay. I've got phase one jobs down here, warranty houses. We've got everything that has been under construction. A couple of these need to be closed out, so to speak, here, but those are our projects. I'm going to create a new job in Buildertrend. I'm going to do it from a template, right? Why do it from scratch? Why go recreate the wheel again? I'm going to go ahead and put 1, 2, 3 ready on this one. I'm going to select a job site, job type. It's going to be a new custom home. I can do open book or fixed price. We do both of them, by the way. You guys can ask questions about that today if we get time in the question section. I'm not going to create a new contact, and I'm not going to connect to QuickBooks today, but I am going to choose this template. The template I'm going to choose, if everybody remembers, it's our phase one template. We just happen to refer to pre-construction as phase one. So just internal lingo with CopeGrand. We've got construction, right? And then we've got pre-construction. So we've got phase one and phase two is how we organize, lingo around here and discuss it. So anytime you see phase one, it means pre-construction for us. On this template, I'm going to bring over the document folders. Hey, there's information already loaded into those document folders. There's SOPs, there's information related to jobs. There's a client tutorial of how to navigate Buildertrend already in there. I don't have to go load that stuff back in every single time. We might talk about RPM. I'm talking about some BOP principles here coming to my brain. as well. I've got file folders. We've got invoices. These are templated invoices, estimate line items, and certainly the schedule items we're going to talk about here in just a second. Project start date. Sorry, how about tomorrow? All right, so I know I'm going to need to do a zip code here. I'll just use that address that just popped up right there. I'm going to navigate through this. If this was a client, I would certainly do all this information. Putting in the contract price is very important once we have that. Notes, of course, in our custom fields, we love to keep track of our clients' information, children's names, sports, hobbies, home plans, owning a property. This information typically, and just talk about pre-construction, and if you got a team, Ben and I are meeting most of our new clients. Our project managers are not meeting our clients first off. Sometimes, right? Might be walking projects and they meet them, but they're not the ones calling information, figuring out their design inspiration, figuring out who they are. They're not figuring out yet if this client is a right fit. That is a filter that I most of the time operate. Okay. So as I get that information, I might be storing here and I might be proud of how much I know about that client, but it's a disservice if I don't give that information to our team. They have to relearn that back over. So you can create custom fields in Buildertrend in your software, and you can keep track of these. This is a subset of ours. All right, let's save it. Creating processes that are predictable or repeatable and predictable to get the same and optimum results. Okay, I'm saying the same thing over and over again in different ways. How can we do that? We can be organized. 1, 2, 3, ready is the job that we just created. I brought over a template. All right. I brought over a template of a checklist. This might just be the most robust checklist. Well, maybe not robust, but let's just talk about construction and pre-construction. This might be the most robust pre-construction checklist that we've seen because of what other information we gather from it. Okay. It's not just a checklist that lives in a yellow pad in Adam's office here that I keep track of. It's a checklist and a schedule with dependencies and predecessors and assignments that are already pre-scheduled out the whole way through pre-construction. That the entire team, and if we choose, our clients have access to. The biggest hurdle of getting somebody to agree sometimes to building a custom home, and custom home, guys, is what we do. It's the business we're in. We're not into volume. We're not into building plan A, B, or C. That's another business, and that's also a successful one. But the one that we focus on is certainly client-centered. And so having certainty for them, being able to show them the path of what we're going to do for them and when, or if they chose to do it on their own, you could unfold this and ask, how much of this client do you have professional experience with? And we can go down and go through all those items. On a list view, this is what it looks like. And I'll go through some of these items too, because there might be some good questions about this. So here's our pre-construction checklist in a Gantt format with predecessors, dependencies, and who they're assigned to. So when we're meeting a client, and after we get to the first steps of discussing working with us, we're always talking about our pre-construction process and the value that we can add for them. One of the ways is being organized. Man, that's a responsibility that most of us have always struggled with. Once you create this, if you don't have something like this, once you create this and you use it in repetition and you make it part of your routine, you don't have to worry about that unorganization anymore. You don't have to worry about that chaos. Once you get your team wrapped around this and your team involved with these, now all of these don't become your responsibility anymore either. There's other experts in your team that you're engaging with to make sure that they are vested in this project too, which is also very important. So this, man, I mean, I'm trying to describe kind of how deep this goes without kind of beating it up too much, but the importance of this checklist, this task list goes really deep. I might pause there for a second before I get into a pre-construction agreement discussion. Might just say, I've been a fan of, well, I'll just say it. Our team has been a fan of for a long time. We chosen to take the red pill using a matrix analogy. We chose to go into the matrix on it and actually participate in all of the features. Many features would serve us within Buildertrend and not just use it on the surface for daily logs, photos, and potentially estimating, potentially takeoffs, potentially invoicing. We're integrated the whole way through. And it's taken some time, it's taken some effort. We've hit some roadblocks. We call up Buildertrend. We say, hey, are we doing this the right way? Or is there a restriction within the software? When you call so many times like we have, you get to know some people over there, which is pretty cool. And you also get to see what they're working on and be a part of what they're working on improving. So I'm going to skip over to something here real quick. I'm going to open up a new tab. I went under project management and Buildertrend. You guys can do this on your own. We get invited to participate in new features within Buildertrend and help evolve those features to better our business, but the rest of y'all's businesses as well. And it's a privilege of ours. And you guys are always welcome to throw comments to us so that we can be a conduit for you to the folks at Buildertrend, or just email them, submit it. But there's a new thing here called tasks. I'm not sure if everybody has it yet. And in pre-construction, I think Brent had said, hey, we're going to cover tasks today. And I was like, yeah, great. Let's do that, because Buildertrend also just rolled out a brand new feature for tasks. And Ben's probably texting me right now, hey, go to this job, go to that job, where we're actually using this. I'm under here, a brand new job. But tasks was one of our complaints, one of our gripes that we had. Maybe not a Buildertrend, but on the job site. Hey, when we've got things, when we're walking the job, when Ben and I are walking our jobs to do quality control, and we're seeing things, and we've got to do something with that information, you guys are probably doing the same thing. No matter what level you are in the organization, when you're seeing something on that job, you've got to communicate to somebody else about it. Otherwise, it might be missed. And the risk and the liability associated with that cannot be understated. And so we struggled with, how do we do that? A year ago, Buildertrend was kind of clunky. You get in there, you create a to-do, and it takes you like 11 clicks to do it. And so we were like, hey, there's a better way, there's a better way, there's a better way. Ben and I were in Vegas with Buildertrend last year at the IBS International Builder Show. And again, I'm just pounding on these guys, getting in front of everybody I can, including Dan Houghton, who's the CEO of Buildertrend, and saying, this has to be fixed. There's an opportunity here. And so Buildertrend did it, and they rolled it out pretty damn quickly. It's called tasks. This one here, as fast as I can type, and I wasn't planning on demonstrating that today. Gray water coming from a tree. Next one, purple leaves on, I spelled it wrong, leaves on roof. No matter how fast I type, I can create. If I go over to my notes section on my iPhone and copy and paste bullet points, it goes into here. Buildertrend just saved us a ton of time. Okay. And when I click on these, I've got tags, I've got a due date, I've got an assignee, I've got a description, I can create a subtask. I'm actually attaching photos, annotating them of exactly what it is. So not to go get too far into pre-construction, but to get further into focusing on processes and systems that you need to focus on to create predictable and repeatable results. This software, our process in here, really does do that for us. And we talk about people, purpose, and profit. That last word, I don't think any of us really are comfortable talking to clients about profit. Maybe there's some outlaws out there and you're like, yeah, I can do it. But nobody really likes talking about profit. I'm getting a lot more comfortable these days talking about profit with clients, but I'm really talking about efficiency. The market is going to let us builders charge whatever the market needs us to charge to stay into business and create and maintain and develop the most professional teams. The margin, the profit, actually comes from our efficiency. And there's something else that also comes from that efficiency, and it's a significant reduction in chaos. I'm not going to say that chaos ever goes away. We're still dealing with 65 trades and 450 guys that show up to every job site for every job. at varying times of year, in the heat, in the cold, traffic, flat tires, money, over budget, under budget. There's chaos. And then there's clients, right? And we won't go down that rabbit hole. But we will go back to project management, our schedule. Let me stop though. I've been talking a lot. Any questions so far? Brent, you got anything for me?
I'm just curious, does anybody else on the call have this feature on task? And if so, how have they been utilizing it? Or is it something they're going to move forward into based off what they just heard today? It seems like a no-brainer from a novice with Buildertrend. Obviously, that's not my specialty, but that would be a why wouldn't you on this one? Is anybody else using the task feature, or is it out yet?
This is great for me to hear about. We
Oh,
haven't been
wow.
using
Hey,
it.
look who's on the call, Megan. I didn't see you.
This is how important you are to me and learning about this. I'm driving to Vegas listening to this with a car full of kids and just tuning them out. But your pre-construction process and knowing enough about your business is hands down the best I've seen. So very grateful that you're showing us all of this and excited to implement it. As we're working on our pre-construction process right now to make it faster and more efficient. Anyway, this couldn't be better timing. So thank you.
Well, my pleasure. And I'll tell you, guys, if you see me get a little bit emotional or flushed here, it's because I do feel blessed that Megan's on the call. Megan is, kudos to her. She is the most I'll just use language. She's the most badass lady builder in the land that I've ever met. And one that's just blazing trails and doing right by the industry. She is in the Midwest, Twin Falls,
Yep.
Idaho. And she's doing some really great things. So just check Meg out too if you want. But thanks for those comments, Meg. And yeah, we can spend some more time going over this stuff too as well. All right. So yeah, the task list, right? Tasks are ways to keep organized. I think that's still, looking back to the days that we used to manage jobs off of yellow pads, it was the most predictable way to get GSD, get shit done. It was an organization. You could share your yellow pad, you could cross it off. Every time that you hit that check mark, you get a dopamine hit from it, and it felt good. Those checklists happen to be in Buildertrend now. They are also template oriented. So where Ben and I just came from is, in fact, and we're super celebratory about this, our team is pretty bad to the bone. But there are some things that we don't do. Some of the things we don't do are promise to finish houses by Christmas. However, one of our project managers did take a risk and took the ownership of it, doggedly relentless, extreme ownership, which is part of our core values. And he said, nope, I want to finish this one by Christmas for our clients. So the team today is on site, the rest of them, all the project managers, coordinators, pre-construction, they're there making sure they're going through their final checklists before our clients move in before Christmas. That checklist no longer has to live in somebody's yellow pad book. It can now live in Buildertrend, and you get to grow it. And that task list is a perfect place for it. It's the new and revolutionized to-do list that used to exist here. So let's go through pre-construction. I think we'd be amiss if we didn't discuss this in detail. This is going to be different for your company. It's going to be different for your area. But let me go ahead and roll it back up here to make it a little bit more visually friendly and easier to chew on. Okay, so we've got pre-construction. I know there's some things that are condensed here. Pre-construction agreement, okay, AGMT. I just kind of run out of room. Authorized. This means that we've got a signed pre-construction agreement. We do pre-construction agreements. Okay. The level of professionals that we have on our team, man, those resources, time is not free. Unfortunately, just like you guys, we've been taken advantage of by clients over the years who just want to suck all the pre-construction wherewithal experience out of you and your team, and then you not get any value out of it. You not get compensated for it. And so what we do is we set clear expectations of what we're going to be doing in pre-construction, and then we do a pre-construction agreement. And we've done ours several different ways. We've done it lump sum. We've done it hourly. Now we do a retainer and we do hours. Okay. So it's the most fair way I think I can provide it. You guys do you, but definitely do a pre-construction agreement for your clients. It is a way certainly to establish that they trust you and your team to be taking this next step with them, because this next step is everything except for permitting. This next step is everything below. And somebody might just think, oh, well, hey, great. The next step is going to find an architect. I've already got one. Next step is to do a structural engineer. The architect's going to do that. What do I need a builder for? So let's go ahead and open this up. So kind of set it up for today. We'd start on Monday, pre-construction agreement authorized, and then everything else after that can happen. The next category here is feasibility and opportunity. This is discovery. Where are they building at? Is the property buildable? Are the soils even suitable? Is there any protected trees, protected monuments, easements, drainage ditches, OCRM, oceans, rivers, any of that stuff that's on the property? So we do GIS mapping. We're definitely going to start with a boundary survey, including tree and topo and conditions, right? Are there conditions on the property, existing conditions that need to be brought up? We're going to identify opportunities for connection to utilities. Are we in a location where we've even got sewer to hook into a pipe? If we don't, are we in a location where we can even get a septic system in? Try not to dig into that one too much today, but living in the low country, you guys that are in the low country or next to the ocean, you know what I'm talking about there. Obtain and upload deed restrictions, right? So what came along with that property that told that owner what they could and could not do? Those are often, and also ARB conditions, but they could be covenants restrictions. Hey, you can't build a house without a garage and such things like that. If you get the whole way into pre-construction and not know what the property is and what you can do on it and start designing a house and get it permitted and then find out that you can't permit it, I mean, what a gigantic waste of resources, including time and money for yourself, but notably your clients. OCRM confirmation, physical site visit, definitely got to do a physical site visit. So all these things start right on the onset. Do we do it the first day? No. Do we do it by the fourth or fifth day? Absolutely. Review SCDOT, it just happens to be the Department of Transportation here. Access and permit. We got to be able to get there to a main road. Soil analysis for septic, if we're going to do septic. Review cable and internet options. When we go there, this is when we check our cell phone and realize, is there any cell phone signal? If there's not a cell phone signal, how in the world are we going to build this house? Sometimes we joke around about that. It's still the case, right? There's still places that we build without cell phone signals. Megan, you're probably used to that on most of your projects, being as rural as you are. Septic design and engineering, wetlands delineation, flood zones. What flood zone? Hey, this is really important to know on the onset. What flood zone, what grade are we at? We got to build above that flood. And if our clients don't want an elevated house, this isn't the property for them potentially. And so there's some stoppers in here that if you realize really early, you can save your clients a ton of time and money. You actually, and just as important yourself, time and money. So these are easy checkbox items. And I'm going to show you where those things are. Checkboxes are on here. Wetlands delineation, flood, preliminary access easements, structural engineering review of the soils, confirm water and well options, on-site meeting with power company. This one's also really important. You want to talk about things that bite you in the rear that come up. Maybe this isn't an issue for you guys where you are, but when your power company decides that they are no longer paying for the cable from wherever their transformer is to that client's house, and now that's somebody else's responsibility and you didn't budget for it, it's going to be a terrible conversation. Because you should have known. Well, you do not. You can now know because you got it on your template and you knew right from the onset. You now created value over another builder who they might be talking to that's not aware of these conditions. All right, next phase, architectural design. So we go ahead and in our system, in our full pre-construction, we do cater to our clients as their fiduciary, right? As their resource, as their coach in all of pre-construction. We do identify, they're welcome to bring any architects they want, but we do identify through our interview process with our clients who the best architect is or would be for them. And we bring three. Bring three to the table, maybe more, maybe two, but we certainly set them up with the opportunities to get information on who they would like to design their house to make sure that their goals are in alignment with a budget, a timeline, an expectation, and deliverables. And not all those things are on here. There's even more secret sauce right there that I'm giving to you guys, but these are important. Architectural proposal review, we're doing it along with our clients. They don't know how to do that typically. How many times have they looked at architectural proposals? How do they know how much they should cost or value? And so we're doing that on their behalf. And this is why we're earning through our pre-construction services agreement. Conceptual plan creation. Okay, so we get into creating a conceptual plan. How long does that take? Design development set, construction drawings. How long does this all take? It's also documented here. Now, a 3,000 square foot house is going to be different than a 10,000 square foot house. You need to adjust it. This is the template. Keep that in mind. There's definitely going to be an ARB review, and it needs to be on here because they often have a stake in the schedule. Structural design is next. We have to have licensed PEs, professional engineers, design the structural components for our houses here in Charleston, South Carolina. And so we take into consideration that geotechnical boring study that we did earlier, when we go drill on the property. We actually drill where the home site's going to be. So our drilling above wasn't here. It's not the first thing we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get our survey, get our wetlands delineation, get all of our OCRM, our setbacks. We're going to do a site analysis to identify where all the trees are and figure out where the best placement of that house is. And then we're going to send the drill rig on top of where the house is going to be. And then we test the soils. That definitely has to go to the engineers. Sometimes, unfortunately, it still doesn't with some builders. In that case, how do you really design the footings and the foundation appropriate to the conditions that you got? A little tidbit there. Okay, and then landscape design. Sometimes we've got full-blown $1 million landscape packages. Sometimes we are building where, one of our clients I'm thinking about right now, just, hey, Adam, as natural as it can be. Great. Well, we still got to stabilize it, so pine straw. So maybe this doesn't need to be elaborate, but again, this is a template. You want to load your templates up with all of the things because it's easier to delete than try to remember what you got to add back in. Next one is estimating and specs. This is really estimating and creating and refining specifications. This is an ongoing process with our team. One of the most important value add things that you could do in pre-construction for your clients. And the communication. That's a whole different call on estimating the specs. And then the permitting. This is typically where phase one stops for us. Okay? Phase one stops for us right here because we're not being paid to go build the house yet until we decide and confirm and agree on the plans, specifications, the estimate accuracy, and then we say go. And at that point, then we go permit. But certainly the question always comes up, hey, we want to start tomorrow. We want to be in by Christmas next year. Well, if we're looking at a pre-construction process here, and I'm showing that we got to do all these things professionally, we got to manage them professionally, we got to check all these boxes. By the time we get to the end, we're not even getting into permitting until October next year. And if we've got 3 months of permitting and that's going through December and Christmas, we're in January. Being realistic. Don't let anybody else tell you that it's going to be something else. Now, certainly, could we adjust that for you based on your scope, your 3,000 square foot house or your 10,000 square foot house? Yes, we should do that. But this is reliable. This is repeatable. This removes the chaos. And this is our pre-construction process. All right.
Love it.
And one last thing I said I was going to, for accountability, right? This is all great, but without accountability, what's it worth? Right here, title of the task, the ID, percent complete. Is it done? Is it not done? And who did it? Adam, Ben, Sam, somebody else on our team? We can see at any point in time, anybody can see on our team what needs to be done yet without looking over the shoulder of somebody else's desk and checking through their yellow pad, or heaven forbid they're sick and they're out and they can't come back to work for a while. This right here has been very valuable for us. All right, guys, that was the presentation. I hope that you got a lot out of it, but I really do think that the true learning opportunity right now is not through that presentation. I hope you were paying attention to it. I should have told most people, hey, get rid of all the distractions, but now is your last opportunity. Get rid of those distractions now and bring some questions or call me out on some things and let me know if I can, help elaborate on any of this.
Great time to come off mute. Fire a question away for Adam. What'd you hear? What are you going to take away? Were you curious?
Hey, Nick, I see you're on the call. Too bad, buddy. You're getting called out. Go ahead and go off on mute.
Dang, Adam, you got me. No, I
How do we know
wasn't.
each other? How do we know each other, Nick?
So we met in Omaha, Nebraska during the Contractor Coalition Summit
When?
this last summer.
Okay, cool. All right. How else do we know each other?
Well, we had a call with your team, I don't know what, heck, a week ago.
How did that happen? You're a builder out of Virginia, right?
Yeah, so I guess I'll give you a little background on what we do. We're a custom home builder out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Somehow we ended up winning a ton of big contracts. And so our company has significantly shifted in the direction of where we're going. And one of the things that I noticed is just like Adam was talking about, basically creating more clarity with what we're doing using systems and processes. And so I ended up listening to a bunch of podcasts with Reese Barnes at Adaptive, and Adam spoke on that. And I was like, hey, I know this guy. I'm going to reach out to him. And so I reached out to Adam, and heck, I think just last week or maybe 2 weeks ago now, we sat down with Adam's, I guess some of Adam's team to basically help us start kind of looking into some more of our processes. So that's how me and Adam know each other. But going into the question that I had, Adam, for your schedule, when it comes to that permitting piece, at what point are you going through contract negotiations with a client, to determine whether or not you guys are moving forward with the permitting, or if the client is just going to take all the deliverables that you guys produced and say, hey, Adam, thanks for all the help, but we're going to go a different direction with the builder. Or maybe you guys find out that this just isn't the right client for you. I guess at what point in your pre-con process is that kind of decision made? Is it before you move into permitting, or is it you help set up all the permits and then make that decision?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I want to say that each business should be fairly unique. And so these decisions that you choose for yourself, it would be great if they're uniquely to you and how you want to serve your business and serve your clients. And certainly with a high level of integrity. So I think that sometimes rushing into a contract could be a little bit riskier. The opposite of rushing into a contract is doing it all the way at the end, all the way at the end of pre-construction, waiting until everything's figured out. Honestly, that's a little bit risky too, to do all that work and time goes by and anything can happen. They could get sold by another builder who on the cheaper price. Damn it, if you guys aren't telling your clients that the cheapest price is always the most expensive, it's just a matter of time until they figure it out. Please start. Don't let them get that rabbit, that carrot, because it's tough when they want to come back to you later because you don't want to pick up that builder's build halfway through. So the way that we do it, to answer your question, is at the time that feels right for us. And that is when our estimates are substantially complete and fleshed out. Okay, when the plans are complete, when the structural engineering is complete, and we know what that project is, and that agreement that we have with them. And there's a difference between stipulated sum and cost plus. With cost plus, you could have an agreement much earlier because the stipulation's on a percentage and not a sum. Arguably, I still believe there needs to be a control budget in cost plus. But once I'm certain about a project and it's not bouncing back and forth or up or down anymore, then I'm comfortable putting together an agreement that I'm putting my blood oath on to say, no doubt, we're going to build this house for these specs with this amount of budget and in this amount of time, absent any revisions. It's at that time. And so, Nick, our time to do that is down here, done doing this, after we're done doing the specifications and after we're done doing the budget. Now, can I get started on permitting before? Can you? You may not be able to in your jurisdiction. I can here. I can get permitting when I've got plans and engineering and an agreement with and depending on the jurisdiction, an agreement with our client. I think that timing for us gives us and our clients the ultimate certainty in that agreement and removes the chaos of what wasn't known or what we didn't try to find out because we rushed into something, Nick. I think that's my answer for that.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that, Nick. We've got another question in the chat. What level of drawings do you do your first estimates off of? So what level of drawings do you do your first estimates off of?
As soon as I have scalable drawings, dimensioned drawings, we start estimates.
Sarah, you're welcome to come off mute if you want to dive a little bit deeper into that.
I do want to dive deeper, so please ask me another question on that topic.
I have a quick question for you if I can jump in. I'm over at Megan Co. I handle all of the estimating beneath Megan, and she's just a dream to work for. And we're shifting our system kind of from having everything finalized to move into estimating versus using the selection tool and having a better idea of budget as we move through our design process. Can you talk a little bit about what your process looks like?
Related to estimating and selections?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. So let me go back to that last question. I'm gonna dig into that one because I told you guys I wanted to bring whatever I've got, and I don't want to just leave it superficial just to get through this meeting. I don't believe that we as builders should wait till the end to price a project accurately. Damn it, I'm guilty of it, and I don't want to be guilty of it anymore. That we wait to price a project at the end of all architectural and structural design and take that gamble that that client's going to have the resources and that their expectations magically lined up with the actual investment for the house. If you're taking that gamble, I'd encourage you to mitigate the risk. Do those estimates earlier, even if you need to give a range. Hey, it's somewhere around here, plus or minus $1 million or 300,000 or whatever it is. But damn it, if you're in a pre-construction agreement, then you should be doing this for your clients because it's giving you more certainty that the project through design remains viable the whole damn time, and it didn't come off the rack, didn't come off the rails. Humpty Dumpty didn't fall over on conceptual design. And that's really important. Okay, how we do estimating. We do estimating on our cost code structure, no matter if we're doing cost plus or no matter if we're doing open book or stipulated sum. Open book is the term within Buildertrend now for cost plus. Open book or stipulated sum, we're doing the same level of estimate, the same level of detail, the same level of certainty. And we're digging deep and we're going by our cost codes. And as it relates to selections, and this is an important question, so I'm glad you brought it up. Particularly in open book, you are fiscally responsible for transparency and through that trust to our clients, to your clients. And so you have to be keeping track of those numbers extremely well. And it's freaking difficult on projects that change all the time. Man, is that a burden. But that's still what you signed up for. So you got to do the best you can. Stay organized. Only let your contract in open book be modified by a change order or a selection. That's it. Those are the only two things that change that original price to the final price. And you've got your draws for being payments, that sort of thing. So selections is important, and you only make a selection from an allowance. Otherwise, it's a change order. Okay. So when we set up our budgets, we do our budgets, whether they're open book or stipulated sum. We've got our allowance items, which are our traditional selection items: cabinetry, flooring, tops, fixtures, whatever you got. Okay. And you can put allowances in there for what you don't know yet. Hey, I know they want to do an outdoor sauna, but I have no idea yet what it's going to cost. Well, great. Throw 30 grand in there, put it as an allowance. Whatever they spend, they invest, and that's okay. But you've earmarked it for your budget. And it's not a surprise later. And then you're also protected in your forecast for what the cost to complete is. That's a deeper rabbit hole there to go down, and maybe we could do that on another call. But I hope that answered the question sufficiently for what time we have today.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. We've got about 3 minutes. So now is your chance. Would love to see one takeaway. Throw it in the chat here. I see that this presentation. Yes, we will get that once it's cleaned up. We will send it out. Thanks, Danielle.
Hey, along with that question, Danielle, and kind of evidenced by the experience Nick gave y'all, Nick reached out to us and just said, hey, could you help me with this and that? This team here at CopeGrand, is always going to say yes. So if you guys are looking for something after this call, particularly even this template, DM me, go on Instagram, hit DM, say, hey, Adam, saw your thing. Could you send us this? An email also works. So long as it's not something that is, that you're just draining our time and draining our time, this team is happy to help. And so keep that in mind, whether something comes up today, next week, or next year.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Anything else? You guys got anything for me? I hope the presentation was good. Yeah, hope the presentation was good.
We do have a raised hand, Mr. Jordan, and then we'll let you guys out of here.
Yeah, no, thank you, Adam, for sharing all this. And one of the takeaways that I think I have is consistency is key. I think the first time that we do, like we have a client intake form where we'll send to the client, they'll be able to make simple selections so that we can kind of foresee what the house is going to be like, siding, flooring, all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't always go smooth the first couple times, right? And so one thing that I take away from this is do it a few times, do little edits if you need to make it run smoother and stuff like that. But keeping things consistent so that it keeps working or it gets better, I think that's a very important point.
I think, yeah, to add to that, I would resonate that and say, absolutely. I mean, if you're kind of just working with that same tool and you find out that it becomes clunky, that it's not quite as robust, like, man, every time, here's the dirty way to say it. Every time we make a mistake, we have to own it by making an improvement to our system. Okay. So if there's something missing, cell phone signal on something that we should have done in feasibility and opportunity, and maybe that opportunity is a strange word to put in there, but damn it, we're builders, we're creators, we're creatives. And if we can't find opportunities to make our clients' property a dream, even beyond what they have for it, like, I feel like we're missing something. So opportunity is there for a reason. I know it's spelled improperly, and that's because I couldn't fit the whole opportunity on there, but it's still there for a reason. So if you're missing something, if you get, oh man, that power company started charging us, well, now we meet with them up front. It goes on here and build your system, remove the uh-ohs, eliminate the chaos.
Love it. Guys, want to get some more time and get more information about what we talked about today. We don't charge you other than with your time. There's my link. You can book some time, 30 minutes. We'll talk through what we talked about today, get you access to something that's tangible and you can implement into your business. So links in the chat, or you can check us out right there. My Calendly link is there, and would love to spend 30 minutes with you and hear more about your business and what's getting in the way, what's going really good, what 2026 is going to look for.
Hey guys, like. I had fun. I broke a sweat actually, and I appreciate being here with you guys, and hope to see you on the next masterclass. I'm not sure what it'll be, but I kind of expect that Scott and Brent might EH me for another one. And if that's the case, maybe you just email them and let them know what you might want to see under the hood of CopeGrand next, and we'll do that then. Nick, maybe you've got something you want to bring up.
I'm gonna put my email here, and if you've got some stuff you want to hear more about, sharpen the blade per se, email me, and we'll set something up after the first of the year.
Okay. All right. Hey guys, thank you. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. And hey, here's to a prosperous and successful and safe 2026.
Adam, appreciate your time, brother. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
All right. See y'all.